In level 1, we will be finding the surface area and volume of rectangular prisms, which is just a fancy way to say box. So anything shaped like a box. And so let's talk about where the formulas come from. For surface area, you're finding the area of all of the outside shapes. If the figure was made out of cardboard, say it was a cardboard box, we'd be finding the area of the flat piece of cardboard that it would take to build the box. So not the space inside it, but the area of all of the shapes together that make up the box. So I need to, for a box, it's made up of 6 different faces that are all shaped like rectangles, and I have to find the area of all 6 rectangles. To find the area of this bottom rectangle, I would do the length times the width. And the top rectangle is going to be the same as the bottom rectangle. So I'm going to do the length times the width again, or I could do just 2 times the length times the width. Then I would find the area of, say, the front, which would be the length times the height. And the back is going to be the same. It's also the length times the height, so I would have 2 of those. And then I would also do this side over here, which would be the width times the height. But the other side would also be the width times the height, so I would also have 2 of those. And there's my formula for the surface area. But we don't really need to remember the formula if we just remember that we're finding the area of all 6 of those rectangles and adding them up. So you have to multiply the length and height, add it twice, the length and width, add it twice, and then the width and height, add it twice. So we'll write the formula up on the line just to be thorough. 2 length times width plus 2 length times height plus 2 width times height. And now for volume. The volume of every prism is the area of the base of the figure times the height. And the base and the height have to make a right angle, which, so any side of the box could be the base, but usually we think of it as the bottom. So the area of the base in this case is that rectangle on the bottom. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. And then the height is just h. So we get length times width times the height, or just length times width times height. So the volume of a rectangular prism, we just multiply the 3 dimensions, length times width times height. Now let's look at a few examples. If I wanted to find the surface area of this box, I need to multiply the length and width, say 5 and 6, and I add it twice. So I do 2 times 5 times 6 plus, I have to multiply the 6 and the 7, which would be, say, the width and the height, and I add it twice, so 2 times 6 times 7, and then I have to multiply the 5 and the 7, which would be, say, the length and the height, and I add that twice, so 2 times 5 times 7. So each pair of dimensions gets multiplied twice. And that takes care of the 6 rectangles. And then we just simplify. You can plug that all in your calculator, or 2 times 5 times 6 is 60, plus 84, plus 70, which is 214. And area is always measured in square units, so this is square centimeters. Then for the volume, we just do length times width times height, and we get 5 times 6 times 7. which is 210. And volume is always measured in cubic units, so centimeters with a little 3 represents cubic units. In the next example, we have to find the surface area of an open top box with a square base, given the length of a side of the square base is 16 inches and the height of the box is 10 inches. It's always good to draw a diagram if you can. We want the base to be a square. To draw this in 3 dimensions, I draw sort of a rhombus to represent my square, and then I make a rectangle in the front. And there we go. Remember that this is an open top box, so that top is not really a side. It's not made out of cardboard or anything. It's just missing. And it says we have a square base, so the dimension of the square base is going to be the same all around. And it says the length of a side of a square base is 16 inches. So the length and width on the bottom are both 16. And then the height of the box is 10 inches. And now we want to find the surface area of this box. So we want to find the area of all of the sides. Now, when I find the area of the bottom, right here, I'm going to do 16 times 16, or that will be the length and the width, or 16 squared. But I don't do it twice because there's no top on this. It's only the bottom. Now, when I do this side over here, 16 times 10, that's going to actually be the same as the front, which is also 16 times 10, the other side, and the back. So I actually have 4 different rectangles that are all the same going around that will be 16 by 10. And that will take care of all 5 sides of this box. This one's missing its top again, so it only has 5 sides, not 6. And that gives us 256 plus 640, which is 896. And again, area is always square units. This was inches, so square inches.